Let's now explore another workflow to create a Toposolid in Revit from the Civil 3D drawing. This method does not rely on a polished surface, but there are a few extra steps we'll need to take to accomplish this. You'll notice in Revit there's an option to create a Toposolid from a linked CAD file. When we link the Civil 3D drawing, we receive a message about data exceeding Revit's limits. We'll address this in just a moment. But more importantly, we don't see any of the contours needed to create the Toposolid. This is because the contour lines are essentially embedded into the surface, which is displayed as a proxy object inside of Revit. Sort of. In order for us to actually be able to see the contour lines in Revit, we'll need to turn on proxy graphics inside of Civil 3D. This can be done by entering proxy graphics at the command line and changing the variable from 0 to 1, then saving the drawing. It's important to save the drawing because the proxy graphics variable is saved within the drawing, so if we change the variable but we don't save the drawing, we won't be able to see the contour lines from the surface, and therefore we won't be able to generate our Toposolid within Revit. And so now that the Civil 3D drawing has been saved, we can link the DWG back into Revit. This time when we do, we'll be able to see the contour lines. Click on the Massing and Site tab, Toposolid, Create from Import, Create from CAD. Select the Civil 3D drawing. In the Add Points from Selected Layers dialog, click on Check None to deselect all of the layers, then scroll until you find C Topo Major N and C Topo Minor N, and toggle on each of them and click OK. Your layers may vary based on your office standards for Civil 3D. Revit will create a Toposolid based on those two contour layers, but you may have noticed that the extents of the Toposolid are not what you may have been expecting. This is because we didn't select the boundary layer of the surface, which is essentially a 3D line that represents points of the surface at different elevations along the boundary edges. We also need to address the vertical position issue. As you can see, the Toposolid is floating above our building. We need to make an adjustment equal to the finished floor elevation, in this case 780.5 feet, and move the link down that distance before creating the Toposolid. This is because when we link the DWG into Revit, we placed it at the same floor and elevation that we used to initially set our models, which was 780.5 feet. And because the contours in Civil 3D are elevated, we need to adjust vertically minus or negative 780.5 feet to move them down to the same elevation as our finished floor. So let's undo the Toposolid creation and redo the process, but this time we'll set the DWG at the correct elevation, which again is minus 780.5 feet. And when we do, we receive a message about the shared sites being modified. This is fine because we won't be saving any of the changes back to the Civil 3D drawing, so click OK to continue. In the Add Points from Selected Layers dialog, we'll choose the two contour layers from before, and let's also select the layer for the surface boundary, C-10-boundary, and notice what happens. This time we have a Toposolid that extends to the limits of the surface as shown in Civil 3D. Remember that message we received at the beginning about exceeding Revit's limits? Well, you can ignore that because once you have your Toposolid created, you can remove the link to the DWG since you won't be needing it anymore.